Hi, I'm Jeff Moran. I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where today we are going to talk about the infamous Texas Horse Marines. This is one of those episodes of Texas history you don't always hear about, but it's a fascinating one. Because it was on this day, June 2nd, 1836, that the whole saga of the Horse Marines began. Let me go ahead and tell you what happened, and then we're going to go into the backstory. Well, on this day, what happened? Isaac Watts Burton and a group of 20 men had been hiding in the bushes out there on Capano Bay. And, if you've ever been to Capano Bay, it's huge, but they saw a strange vessel, and they went ahead and started waving their hands and speaking in Spanish. Come over here and land, come over here and land, or whatever it is that they said. And the ship went ahead and obliged. They boarded the ship and captured it. Now, one of the people aboard the ship was none other than John Davis Bradburn, otherwise known as Juan Bradburn. Now, the reason he was often called Juan Bradburn, or you see reference to it in the historical documents, is because many of the Texas colonists considered John Bradburn a sellout, and hence they started calling him Juan, because he was more loyal to the Mexican cause than to the Texas cause. Of course, they had a lot of animosity toward him going back to the Anahuac disturbances. Now, the backstory to all of this, John Bradburn had been, he originally showed up in Texas as part of the Gutierrez-McGee expedition. And if you haven't seen the video on the filibusters, you need to see that one. And he was in and out of Texas ever since that expedition, and he aligned himself with the Mexican independence forces, Iturbide and some of the others, and he managed getting a position in the Mexican army, was a general, and he was sent to the Anahuac area, and actually it was originally known as Perry's Point from Henry Perry. Under direction, he went ahead and gave it a more Hispanic sounding name, hence Anahuac, named for a valley inhabited by the Aztec Indians. Aztecs weren't here in Texas, but they had to make things look like it as part of the propaganda campaign. Well, anyways, at Anahuac, he stirred up animosities because he tried to do away with the Community of Liberty, because he considered that community located too close to the military facilities there at Anahuac, because he had built a fort there. He took away the land of the settlers, gave it to his local friends, and that got people all stirred up. And that's when the locals started calling him Juan Bradburn as opposed to John Bradburn. Make a long story short, when Santa Anna was conducting his campaign, Bradburn was assigned to operate down there near Refugio and be in charge of the supply ships. Make sure that the supplies were left there for the army. Now, although Santa Anna had been defeated, Mexico was unwilling and was not wanting to relinquish its control on Texas. In fact, some of the ministers in Mexico had already sent agents to New Orleans and other places to go ahead and locate ships and rebuild their navy, because they wanted to take over Texas. Now, someone who was alert to the potential dangers was General Thomas J. Rusk of the Texian Army. And he went ahead and he sent Isaac Burton with 20 other Rangers to patrol the coast of Texas, because he felt that there would be a risk of possible naval invasion, which there was. And the Horse Marines managed capturing that one ship, and then later on in the month, they captured 2 others. So they actually ended up capturing 3 Mexican vessels in the course of their operation there on the coast of Texas. And because they were Rangers and had captured ships, they earned the title Horse Marines. But I think that at that point there really was a serious invasion threat to Texas. They had captured Bradburn. Now Bradburn, after that episode, he ended up going down and living out the rest of his life there in Matamoros, and he died. When he died, funeral announcements were in the Texas papers, but they were largely neutral. A lot of people still considered him a sellout to his race, having preferred the Mexican cause over the American, well, I'll go ahead and say the American cause, because he was originally from Virginia and had been part of the efforts to have an independent Texas, independent of Spain back then. Anyways, that's the story of the Horse Marines. I may have to do an episode on John Bradburn, because there was a whole lot more to his life than just the Anahuac disturbances. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave your comments or suggested topics below. I'll be glad to get to them. And until next time, vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.